it going?
To get married?
No. Ew.
Sailing?
Been there, done that. No. That too.
To get colored cornstarch drilled at us?
Yes! And we have a 365-day calendar that I make randomly. And today's photo is last year's event. It's crazy. Here's a picture of us there.
What is it?
Holi? Color Festival?
They just call it the Color Festival. But
It's based on the Indian festival that it's probably really rude
I don't know.
to do. Oh, I didn't think of that. Cultural appropriation, I don't know. They celebrate it all over the world. There's usually a race where you throw colors. And last time I wore my real wedding dress that I
this
actually
is your
got
real
married
wedding
in.
dress, but the one you actually got married in.
My real wedding dress is the one I actually got married in. And I wore that last year. It was an H&M dress. This is my wedding photo shoot dress that I bought 2 years after we got married in China and wore almost 8 years after getting married. And well, we have no use for it anymore. This is a really cheap dress, really poofy, so we're gonna wear it. And it might get ruined, but that's okay. But last year, my dress is very white, like paper white, and it's totally fine after I washed it. And also, more embarrassingly than doing this, we're going to the Kama bar, where we've been in several costumes before. I forgot my ring. Not my wedding ring, my aura ring. Isaac, are we weird? Aloha! Nothing more positive than a bride, right?
Nah. I don't know about that.
What?
What?
Wow.
What should I wear? Wear the ultimate souvenir. Purchase a festival shirt, and you can also preserve the color pattern after it's been thrown. Shirts are available. White is recommended so you can leave colorful.
This is Isaac.
And we are the Travel Bug Bite.
We met in Prague, Czech Republic.
Lived in Shanghai, China.
New York and Rhode Island, USA.
And now we live in Hawaii.
We've traveled from Tibet to Puerto Rico.
Harbin to PP.
And drove cross country with Smiley in our Tesla Model 3.
Subscribe to follow our adventures. If you liked our video, don't forget to click the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. Check out our videos from all around the world and let us know what you'd like to see next.
Thanks for watching!